Beneath the Pacific, a relic of the nuclear age emerges from the darkness.
This ship was deliberately sacrificed during the 1946 nuclear tests at Bikini Atoll. Even now, its identity is still visible beneath decades of decay.
The blast damage left the ship torn open and abandoned forever.
Once active in war, these guns never fired again.
Inside, the ship remains sealed in silence.
Vehicles were left exactly where they stood during the tests. The wreck has become home to creatures of the deep. Here, nature has reclaimed a symbol of human power.
This is only the beginning of what still lies hidden inside.
Radiation warning markings still cling to the hull decades later. Radiation warning markings still cling to the hull decades later.
Restricted areas were sealed before the final tests. No crew ever returned to secure what was left behind.
Some personnel never escaped before abandonment.
Time has preserved their final positions. The silence is broken only by the ocean's new inhabitants.
The wreck has fully merged with the deep-sea ecosystem. These controls were never meant to be used again.
Deeper inside, the ship still guards its secrets.
The nuclear blast tore the ship apart from the inside.
Every section shows the force of the explosion.
Steel designed for war was no match for nuclear power.
Live ammunition was left exactly where it fell.
These weapons were never recovered.
Something large moves through the wreck.
Even giants of the deep pass through without fear.
The moment fades as quickly as it began.
Navigation instruments remain locked in time. Deeper still, the heart of the ship awaits. The storage decks remain unstable after decades underwater. Everything was left exactly as the tests ended.
Warning signs still cling to the walls.
Entire decks were weakened by the blast.
A deep-sea resident appears without warning.
These giants are curious, not aggressive.
The ship has become part of their territory.
Nothing here was built to last this long.
Ahead lies the most damaged section of the ship.
This section absorbed the full force of the nuclear blast.
Steel here was bent like paper.
Radiation warnings remain, even after decades underwater.
The control room was abandoned instantly.
Some sailors never made it out.
Uniform details still identify the crew.
A massive shape moves through the darkness. The ocean's new guardians patrol these halls. The deeper they go, the heavier the silence becomes.
These passageways once connected every vital section of the ship.
Now, they are frozen corridors of decay. The ship's name still clings to the steel. This was once one of the U.S. Navy's most powerful vessels.
Some sailors never returned for their belongings.
A massive presence moves through the quarters.
The wreck belongs to the deep now.
Personal items remain exactly where they were left.
Ahead lies the ship's final resting heart. The engine room powered a floating city of steel. Now, the engines sit forever silent.
The blast weakened every level of the ship.
Something large moves below.
Even giants navigate the wreck with ease.
The encounter fades into silence.
Every component was carefully documented.
This machinery once drove the ship across oceans. Beyond this room, the ship's final damage awaits.
The stern absorbed catastrophic damage during the tests.
These propellers once pushed thousands of tons of steel. Even identification marks survive beneath the decay. The blast opened the ship to the sea. A deep-sea giant enters the wreck. These creatures move freely through the ruins.
The moment passes without danger.
The ship will never turn another course. This is where the ship finally gave way. The journey through the battleship nears its end.
The forward magazine once stored vast quantities of ammunition.
Decades underwater have frozen the contents in place.
Warning labels are barely discernible now.
Every structure has succumbed to time and the sea.
Unexpected visitors patrol the forgotten spaces.
Life has adapted to the wreck's silence.
Each shell tells the story of a halted battle.
These identifiers reveal the ship's history.
The magazine remains frozen in time and decay.
Above, the ship's upper levels hold more secrets.
The upper decks tell the story of the ship's final hours.
Every surface shows decades of decay.
Weapons of war now lie dormant and forgotten. The turret was frozen in place by time and the sea.
Even here, the deep-sea giants roam freely.
These creatures have claimed this forgotten territory. This bell once rang across the waves. Even small details speak of the ship's history.
The deck stretches endlessly in decay and silence.
The battleship rests eternally beneath the waves, frozen in time.